Join us on the CEO's Laundry and discover the hidden reality of today's top CEOs. Each episode is an inspiring coaching session where a CEO gains insight and clarity to overcome personal, business, or leadership challenges. Learn to reflect and grow with the behind the scenes of these successful leaders. Hi, Tyler.
Hey, Kevin.
How are you
Excited to be
doing?
here. Doing
I'm
great.
happy. I'm happy. Okay, awesome. So why are you here today? Why did you say yes to this rare, unique, weird opportunity?
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, exactly that because the format is fairly unique. And yeah, I'd say the three things that come to mind. One is I'd say just work-life balance, and trying to find my ideal work-life balance. I think just a brief synopsis of that is just trying to figure out, okay, I'm an entrepreneur. I have my own business. I don't have to be stuck to 40 hours a week, 9 to 5, but I also don't want to, ruin my productivity or, lack productivity in any way. And so how can I design my personal work-life balance and make it maximize productivity for me? And then also not be, I don't know, embarrassed or, um, attacked when other people work more hours or work in a different way. So that's definitely one challenge on my mind, especially right now. The second challenge I'd say is it's just an ongoing challenge with co-founders in a business of avoiding direct comparison, because like my Eric, the guy you talked to, he is definitely more of a visionary type guy. He's big ideas, and he's more of an all-in, uh, on one thing at a time. So he'll dump a lot of time and effort into one idea, maybe take a little break, maybe take some time to find a new idea, and then jump all in into that one. And for me, it's more of like steady, consistent effort. Every day I do a little bit towards this one goal, this one idea. And so the third challenge was to figure out kind of my goal, or underlying ambition, I guess. And this could be a big topic, could be a good therapy session, because um, I very early on in my life, I heard of like the happiness salary. Like, okay, at this income, 70,000 per year at the time when I first learned about it, that is when you'll kind of reach like not maximum happiness, but you kind of plateau after that. Like additional dollar won't make you as happy as, from 0 to 1. And so we've recently hit some, great revenue goals in my business. And so now I'm getting a healthy salary, and I've reached that happiness salary. And so that was such a big motivation for the past 6 years of my career, I'd say. um, Hasn't been a super long career yet, and now that I've hit that, it feels a little weird, like, okay, like, well, what is my big career ambition now? What is going to fulfill me? Because that was my big goal and target for a long time. It's like, okay, well, now I've achieved that. Now what's like the big underlying motivation for everything that I do? um, and so yeah, I also think that is a challenge that's been on my mind, something that I'd love to figure out, and something I'd love to, yeah, to figure out.
Okay, amazing. What would you love to leave this conversation with in 1 hour? And let's
Um,
talk in terms of, I like to talk about miracle.
hmm.
So what's a miracle you would like to create if in 1 hour you could leave that conversation with a miracle, something that has happened that is life-changing literally for you, what that
That's a
could
good
be
one.
from what you talk?
That's a great question. I would say, honestly, I think two miracles could come from it. Probably the biggest miracle I could see is from that third challenge of, okay, what's my now underlying ambition for maybe even just the next few years? It doesn't have to be for the rest of my career, but what's going to be that underlying motivation for me? I think that would be a miracle if we could figure it out in an hour. And then another miracle is also, I'd say, back to the first challenge of work-life balance. Um, Really just narrowing down, hey, this is what at least a rough guideline of what my work-life balance could be and what's going to maximize my potential. And so those are two that I could see happening.
Okay. So how is that a challenge for you?
Yeah, the challenge specifically with um, the underlying ambition is just that in some ways I know that like deep down, okay, if I stop working on the business today, I know like I'll probably the business will grow. Like we've set it up with all the systems that we need to keep growing. And
Mhm.
so it almost feels like redundant in a way to just be working on the business because like I've already reached this financial goal, right? This happiness salary. And so like, why do I still need to elevate it? Why do I still need to keep growing it or putting in all this extra effort? Um, but then it ties into that other challenge going back to like, okay, well, it also goes back to a question of like, okay, well, what fulfills me then? Like I've had
Yeah.
this recent big fulfillment of I've reached the salary level. And now it goes back to the question of a deeper question of like, okay, well, what fulfills me? Because if the business can run without me, it probably can't grow as fast without me, but it can't run without me. And so then goes back to like what motivates me, what fulfills me, that type of question.
Okay. So how are you creating this? How are you creating a life with business success, a happy salary, and a lack of ambition?
Mm-hmm.
How are you creating this? If you had to give a TED talk, a 12-minute TED talk on how to do that, your secret recipe, your secret sauce,
Yeah.
what would you say?
That's a good question. So it's hard for me to create the TED Talk because like that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that TED Talk. Or I'm looking for
Hey,
the
here
TED
we
Talk
are.
that will, what was that?
Here we are then.
Yeah, exactly. What first comes to mind is number one, you're creating a business that is not necessarily important to you. It's important, or it's let's see, it's marketable. It's marketable, maybe not fulfilling to you, um, or at least just not the maximum level of fulfillment. And that kind of breeds the potential lack of ambition. Um, the second insight from this TED Talk would be, I guess I don't know, find a business that serves a cause, or um, the potential benefit is maybe lower than like the benefit that you want to create for the world. Like okay, so like I want to create a business that's going to, in my life, I guess I want to make the world a better place by, of like for X variable, right? So I want to make the world 2 times better. So in this case, like I'd be creating a business that only makes the world better by 1.7 times.
Mm,
Because again, it's just that like middling ambition level, right? Like, okay, I created the business to reach financial success, but maybe that ambition was lacking because there was just the financial success portion of it, not the what good are you creating in the world. Those are my two insights.
okay. Okay. Makes sense. And what's the last mini point you would give in your conclusion?
Let's see. I would say, yeah, I mean, my very end conclusion would be find a business that will help you reach your financial goals, but also your personal potential.
Okay. Thank you for the TED Talk.
Yeah, of course. Anytime.
So yeah, I hear you. And it's a topic that I call it the spiritual boner.
Mm.
It's when you're living a life without that big spiritual boner within you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're being there. That's it. You're doing the work. That's it. And you're asking yourself, there's more than this.
Hmm. Right.
Yeah. So what energizes you? What fulfills you? I'm not even talking about business right now. What gives you a spiritual boner?
Yeah, I would say the things that fulfill me are spending time with family. Like I love spending time with my family, and spending time with my wife. And it always never feels like you have enough time to spend time with your
Mm.
family. Um, and so that is definitely one aspect of life that fulfills me. Um, but of course, there is a variety in life. Like I wouldn't. I don't think I would be happy being like a stay-at-home dad. Like I don't think that's quite the
Mhm.
answer to jump in 100% to that, because I always have that feeling of ambition, that underlying ambition. Like I have felt that before. When I'm an employee and like, okay, well this isn't quite enough. I need something else. Like I need to be doing something on my own, typically, and that's what led me to entrepreneurship. And so that ambition has been, kind of satisfied up until now. Um, so that's what yeah, again, that's what I'm struggling with is in the past, that is something that has fulfilled me, is that kind of chase of an objective. Like, okay, I set this goal, I really am invested in this goal, and I see the potential benefit of it for me. So, and this is something I've thought about on my own as well, is like I do feel like there's different aspects of my life and what makes up me and what makes up my whole ambition. And there's a family aspect, there is a financial aspect, um, and then there's like a hobby aspect as well, like, or I don't know, more like a social, athletic, maybe competitive type ambition. Like those are the three aspects of my life that I have kind of isolated in the past. And now that we talk about it, I should pull up those notes that I've written down on that. But those are the three areas of my life that if each one is met, then that's when I've been at kind of my maximum happiness level.
Mhm. Okay. So you talk about work ambition, family ambition,
Hmm.
and social slash hobby ambition.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
what does ambition mean to you?
Good question. Yeah, I have used that phrase a lot, and yeah, it's a good question because I haven't really stopped too much to ever define it. But I guess I guess definition that I would use is just that you're reaching for something. I guess that's a little bit beyond your reach at the moment. Like
Mhm.
you see something ahead of you or above you that you need to grow to attain that objective, whatever it might be.
I see two things in what you say. So in some aspect of your life, you're looking for a thing to thrive for,
Yep.
and at the same time, there's a satisfaction perspective of, hey, can I be at peace and content with where I'm at right now? That doesn't depend on me having to look for the next thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I share a story with you? Oh, it's a
Yeah, of course.
very quick story.
Yeah.
It's a story of an entrepreneur, successful entrepreneur, and he was constantly striving and striving for the next thing. And it's like, yeah, you need to have that big goal, and it's like, so every year you have to find that big goal, and then it's like where you want to be in 3 years or 5 years from now.
Yeah.
And he said one day I was tired of this, and then I understood that if I wanted to shift the way I experience life, I needed to shift myself. And so I reflected on where I was, and I realized one simple truth. It's that I was happy. I had my lovely wife, my kids, my home, I had a business running smoothly, multi-million dollar business. I know I had money coming into the bank account with minimum effort from me. And so I changed my goal. I changed my 3 years vision. I changed my 5 years vision. And it became to be as happy as I am today. And so here I was, the guy, and my big 5 years vision is that I want to be at least as happy as I am today.
Hmm.
And so I started to keep meeting with friends and entrepreneurs and business people. And it's like, well, what's your big vision, your big goal? And I was answering, well, in 3 years, in 2 years, in 5 years, I want to be at least as happy as I am today.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, 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 you don't understand. What's your big goal? What's your big vision? Well, that's it. This is what truly matters. This is what is truly important. And how that will look like in 5 years, it's not relevant. If in 1 year, I wake up one morning with the thought that I have to close my business and start a new one, and that leads me to a place where I'm at least as happy as I was 3, 5, 2 years before, then that's good. If I wake up one morning and my wife wants to divorce me, which he said, I hope not, because I truly love her. I know she truly loves me. I don't think it will happen because we're committed yet. If one morning she wake up with this, 3 years from now, then I want 2 years after the divorce to be as happy as I am today.
Yeah.
And so he said that completely changed my perspective to first open myself up to having that as my big ambition, because it allowed me to look at different places. I had new thought. I had a new understanding about myself, a new understanding about life. And it helped me remind myself of how happy I am, because that was my focus. And when I was constantly striving for the next thing, I was not as aware of the good place I was. And I had to train myself and to train my body and to train my mind into, hey, I'm okay here, because I didn't feel that fully.
Right.
So I'm sure that with you it came to mind. And I would love to know, what is it that you understand from this story?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess there are different levels of goals, right? And so um, I think one thing that has maybe led to this time of my life is that my overarching entire life goal was like a monetary goal, right? And so then reaching that, there's a void. And so kind of one thing that I liked from the story is that it's uh, focusing on a different kind of goal. So, like you say, being as happy as what I am today, that's like a happiness goal, right? Not like a monetary or family oriented or sports kind of goal. Um, and so I think in some cases that's hard to measure, and I'm a pretty analytical guy, and so like that makes me nervous because it's hard to measure.
Mhm.
Um, but I do like it, like because it is something that you can always improve on, and it's like the backbone of everything else, right? Um, so yeah, so I really, yeah, I like that. And then um, I'd say the second insight that I took out from it was just that the it ties into the first insight, but the goal isn't. Yeah, it really does tie into the first insight. Like I really liked how the goal doesn't depend on anything or like how things are today, right? Like you said, you gave some examples of okay, like well maybe I need to close this business, or yeah, heaven forbid, like a divorce. Um, it doesn't. It comes back to like who you are as a person and like your personal happiness. It's not like okay, in 3 years, if I didn't reach this financial goal, with this business in particular, like okay, that was a failure, and like that is now a big void, a big red X on those years. But if you reframe it and say okay, this is my more happiness goal, like it doesn't matter how you get there or what choices you make on that journey, like all of that is leading up to a very good fulfilling goal that again isn't dependent on how things are today.
Mhm. And you pointed out a challenge for you in that. So a grow area for you in that is that it's not about analyzing.
Yeah.
You cannot open Excel for this.
Which I would love to do.
Yeah,
But I can't.
I feel that. I feel that it would be good to have some. things automatic and okay, here I can do some multiplication, addition,
Yeah.
and okay, I know I have to add more of this, I have to change this, and this is not a process that you analyze. And even in that process, the moment you start analyzing, you're going further
Yeah.
from your goal.
Right.
Because that true space within you, that clear space, peaceful space, loving, joyful space, which is the natural space of a human being. We're born with that. We're born with clarity, with peace, with love and joy. And then we grow up. And that space is not a place, it's not an intellectual space at all. So there is also a sense of risk because there is something else, another road we can take. And it's not a bad or good road. It's a road in parallel. What are the things that energizes you? What are 2 or 3 things you would like to do that would make you feel like, hell yeah, I love it, I love life? And you would do those activities that would make you feel good. You will learn some lesson from it,
Yeah.
etc. No matter what it is, if it's related to business or not. It could be do parasailing, it could do diving, it could launch a new venture, do a charity fund. Could be a bunch of things that would be extremely beneficial for you as a human and or to other people at the same time.
Right.
Yet you will be in the same pattern of the next thing, the next thing, the next thing,
Yeah.
which wouldn't deal and resolve an underneath issue
Mm.
right now.
Yeah.
So the question is, how can you do both? And yet the next thing are not, you don't have to. They're not needed. It's an extra, it's a bonus, it's really a plus. It's because you decide that you want. And it's not mandatory. It's like I can, I want, and I choose that. That's all.
Yeah.
I don't have to. So what will be the challenge for you to shift?
I mean, honestly, the challenge I'd say is separating out all of those other questions of like, what energizes me, because that is how I've thought, I'd say, for a long time. And so, and like those, again, like those 3 pieces I mentioned earlier, kind of, in my opinion, like make up who I am. And so, like separating myself from those 3 aspects, I think that's the challenge, is like,
And it's not so much about separating yourself from it, because as you mentioned, those are things that make you feel good, you, Tyler.
yeah.
So it's about your relationship with those things. You're striving for things like this. You're striving for having family time. You're striving for having hobbies, etc. So that is part of what energizes you, energizes you already.
Yeah.
The question in this is, how can your level of peace cannot depend on you constantly achieving more and more and more and more on those things?
Yeah.
So what's in this for you?
The main benefit that comes to mind is avoiding times like now, where there is a void felt, and yeah, if I am able to do that, feel kind of peaceful without, and happy, without needing that, like, I guess maybe caffeine boost or energy from striving in these other 3 areas. Like, can I feel peaceful without having to be running, to achieve all of these different goals? And so, yeah, again, just being able to avoid the feelings of kind of, depression, whatever it might be, of a time where I'm not actively pursuing one of those goals, and I can, again, be happy with just who I am, without stretching for those goals. Like, I'm happy with where I am today, and of course, yeah, I'm probably still going to come up with things that I want to
Mhm.
strive for, and like those do energize me. That's
Yeah, of
something I want to do, right?
course.
But can I be peaceful and happy without them? Yeah.
So what's on your mind right now? What's a different question you might have in mind compared to the beginning of this conversation?
I'm splitting my day between these three things that energize me. My, kind of my logical next step is like, okay, well, I need to now spend time with myself to make sure that like
Mhm.
checking in with myself, like, okay, today are these the things that I want to be doing and that are leading to a goal that I'm excited about and that I choose to want to achieve. So it's kind of like now splitting my day in four almost, where the first thing is making sure that those three areas are aligned. If that makes sense.
Mhm. Okay. Do you see a challenge in that?
Um, no, I mean, honestly, like I feel like that's a pretty solid solution. The only challenge is like just figuring out what works for me, like how long do I spend? What am I doing in that time? Is it journal writing? Is it meditation? What are the activities that are going to, make that worthwhile, make it actually helpful?
Okay. Can I give you a tip?
Yeah.
There is a natural tendency here that your mind will have a natural tendency of asking, okay, so what do I do? Because that's what you're used to.
Yeah.
What should I do? What do I have to do? And so the mind will go back into that I have to do something. I should do something there because that's the pattern of the mind of like, okay, next thing, we have a goal,
Yeah.
how to get there. And so in that is the challenge is, can you pause for a few days, 1, 2 weeks, and simply staying with the fact that there is a possibility of creating yourself differently, reminding yourself of that fact that yes, I, Taylor, can be completely at peace from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep, completely content with where I'm at, not needing anything, not having to do anything, being at a place where I wake up one morning and I'm like, oh, awesome. Today I want to do this.
Hmm.
And staying with that in mind for a couple of days, 1, 2 weeks. And there is a kind of pain, a kind of challenge in refraining your mind from doing this
Yeah.
and not going into analysis, staying in observation. It will do its own work. It will flourish at its own pace,
Mm.
which means that it's effortless.
Yeah.
It's like you're planting a seed and you're taking care of that seed every day.
Right.
Can I stay? Can I be with that insight
Right.
for a few minutes every day? And I can figure out later what to do, and that will come, and I can be that and staying with this. I know you can feel right now that it's different.
Yeah. I don't feel like I've given myself much time to do that. And I do agree with you. There is definitely a tendency or temptation to immediately analyze something and figure out the next step, figure out the action items,
Your mind is naturally going to create resistance.
Yeah.
It's like, why am I doing this?
Hmm.
It's like, I could go for the next thing. I,
Yeah.
I'm wasting time. I'm
Right.
whole bunch of thought and emotions and that will come up. So
Right.
it's also an act of observation of all the resistance that comes in this process, and
Yeah.
which make you be feeling that, oh, I'm growing here.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally.
Thank you very much, Tyler. I love this conversation together.
Thank you.
And I wish you a good day.
You too.